It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do, you do. From the Dixieline Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, the venerable John Riley, and we welcome you to Hacksaw's Headlines. This podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas. They can be your best friend and your consultant. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, what a great sports weekend. What a great Olympic sports weekend it was. And now we move full forward because we're coming out of the Olympics. Baseball spring training, NFL combine, free agency, the draft. My goodness, there's a lot going forward. What a great sports weekend it was.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're all still fired up about Team USA. You're still wearing the sweatshirt. You've been sleeping in that all weekend?
I told you so. I told you so. I would hope somebody from the old Canada Network will join us and participate in this podcast. When we are done, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, hot topics on the table, and then we take your comments in fans forum. When we're done, we want you to participate. John, for the people who are on live stream, or for the people that watch on a delayed basis, how do they get involved in fans forum?
All right. Well, so there's two ways to do it here. So if you want to get involved in the live stream, just drop your hot take in the live chat on YouTube, on X, on Facebook. But you know what? We often incorporate a lot of social media comments in our fans forum. So always be sure to leave like a hot take in the YouTube comments, on X, on Instagram. And if you got a good one, we're going to get you involved.
Fans Forum coming up right at the end. One other business item before we go to the hot topics on the table. We really thank you for your support in doing this. You can really help us grow this by giving us a thumbs up. Where's that thumbs up button? Hit that. Hit the fans follow button. And, of course, give us a 5-star rating. It helps us grow this podcast enormously as we're pushing to 10,000 subscribers on this podcast, which, by the way, is absolutely free. Okay, John, we're ready to go, and we are going to start in Italy, where they're still celebrating. And I'll tell you what, they're celebrating here in the country. They're not celebrating north of the border in Canada.
Yeah, red, white, and Olympic gold, Lee.
Nice topic. Let's talk about Team USA's win over Canada. Connor Hellebuyck, 41 saves. Saves on 2 breakaways. Saves a stick save with the net wide open. He on his back got the edge of the stick on to make another, and he stonewalled the Canadians when they had a 5-on-3 2-man advantage. He robbed Connor McDavid on the breakaway. He robbed Max Celebrini on a point-blank shot and on a breakaway. He had a save off his face mask, and he had one off the butt end of the stick. Jack Hughes scored on a 2-on-1 break in overtime when it was 3-on-3 skaters in overtime. The U.S. Open with an explosive first period. They outskated the Canadians, just could not put the puck past Jordan Bennington. U.S. hit the post and a crossbar on the same shot. Ding, ding, and out, did not go in. U.S. got lucky, though. Blown ref's call. U.S. did not get caught with 7 guys on the ice in a line change. Canada came out in the second period, and they hit everything that moved. They were all over the ice. They dominated second period, dominated third period, but could not take control because of Connor Hellebuyck, the Winnipeg Jets goaltender. Canada outshot Team USA 43-28. And then how about after the victory, all the emotions on the ice as they gave the gold medals to the Americans? Team USA got ready to go to the podium, take a group team photo, and the Kachuk brothers stopped and said, wait a minute, skated to the penalty box, picked up 2 kids and brought them back. They were the son and the daughter of Johnny Gaudreau, nice. Johnny Hockey. And they had the team photo with Johnny Hockey's kids, and they held Johnny Gaudreau's Olympic uniform. It was really, really cool. I tell you this, the emotion from Team USA was one thing, and the emotion towards Johnny Hockey's family was the second. I felt so bad for Connor McDavid. He's come so close as a superstar in Edmonton, but he's never won a Stanley Cup. He's never won an Olympic medal. He did everything in this playoff series, including the setting the all-time record for points scored in the Olympics, and he's never won anything. And the poor Canadians had to stand there. You could just see the ache in their face as they got the silver medal. But it was a hell of a tournament. And I propose this, wearing my Team USA jersey. I propose we eliminate the NHL All-Star Game, and in place of it, let's just have Team North America versus Team World, and that replaces the All-Star Game. And you're playing for flag, and you're playing for the crest on your jersey. It was really cool. Reaction to what we saw, hockey first.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, it's been a long time. It's been since 1980. I mean, I'm surprised that they haven't won it recently, but then the NHL players haven't played in this in like about 10 years or so, right?
And the ones that won in 1980 were college kids. They were not pros.
They weren't.
The Russians were pros.
They won in 1960 as well, didn't they?
Exactly that. But that was the very formative years of international hockey.
Okay, that was way early. So, yeah, good vibes all around. The Johnny Gaudreau part of the story is fantastic. What do you think about Kash Patel out there in the locker room drinking beers with the boys?
Pass on that.
Yeah.
And by the way, your president today asked Team USA to come to the White House tomorrow.
They going?
I don't know, because the players are supposed to report back to their teams because the second half of the NHL schedule starts Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well, see if they squeeze it in. Hey, and by the way, your comments about Team Canada, you know, I know that for Canada, this means everything.
Sure.
I mean, in the world of Canada sports, I mean, Team Canada winning the gold has got to be a bigger deal than the Blue Jays winning the World Series or the Raptors winning the NBA Finals, right?
Yep.
I mean, so it is crushing, and it's crazy how, you know, to your point, McDavid just has never won. And it's never been like he's choked or anything. It's just a set of circumstances. But when they went to, like, in the OT, they went to three skaters, but it's normally 5 plus a goalie, right?
During the games, yes.
Right. So that was a radical change to really open up the ice.
Well, it does. And they do that during the regular season. In the NHL playoffs, they don't. They go 5-on-5. You play a full 20 minutes, 5-on-5 in postseason play in the NHL.
Wow.
Some of the purists on Twitter said 3-on-3 is bogus. 3-on-3 is set up just for TV. So get the game over. Let's see an exciting finish to a game 3-on-3 rather than have the potential of another 20 minutes of USA versus Canada.
Yeah, because it ended like in 2 minutes, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it was a great, I mean, what the hell though? It was on at 5 a.m. You know, I mea culpa. I missed the first period. And so I got to see the second, third period and overtime, and it was great. But it still was just so damn early, like 5 a.m. Pacific time. So
that's why they make Maxwell House coffee.
They do. So, yeah, good on those guys. It's cool, too, that the USA had 2 sets of brothers on the team.
Yeah.
You know, and then even Jack Hughes commented about the brotherhood of Team USA, where they just came together 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And suddenly now, you know, these guys, you know, they will for the rest of their lives. They're going to be connected. But to your other point for the All-Star game for NHL, definitely like 4 nations style. But you can't have a Team North America. It'd be like merging Team Canada and Team USA into one team, and then Team World would like barely have any players.
There's a lot of great European players. If you lump summed everybody that was on all the European players, European teams, you'd have a really good representative side.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all for like 4 nations, you know, and maybe we make it 8 nations. Just keep it going like that, because that's where people get excited.
Exactly.
Because all the other configurations of All-Star games, people don't really care. And the players don't really care either.
Now, for those of you who like hockey, O Canada Network, go to my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. Read my one man's opinion column today on my website. I got so much reaction from hockey people who emailed me through my website, said, right on. the way you wrote what you wrote. That was really cool.
Yeah.
That was neat. You know, at the end of the day, Team USA's colors, red, white, and Olympic gold, there were no losers. I feel bad for Canada, but there were no losers. The winner, global hockey.
Oh, for
You know
sure.
how great the game is now, how many great players there are globally? Oh, that was cool. Okay, let's just talk about the rest of the Olympics. How about Norway? Small country. I've been to Norway. Oslo, what a great city. Norway, record 18 gold medals. How about skier Johannes Klæbo? All-time record, 6 gold medals in skiing for Norway in the last 2 weeks. Of course, we had your sport, your newly adopted sport, curling, where everybody cheats. We had a lot of curling. Every time I turned my TV on, it was curling.
It's great. I enjoy it.
Lindsey Vonn had her 6th knee surgery, leg surgery. Today, she revealed, as she was released from the hospital after the weekend surgery, she revealed that there was fear they were going to have to amputate her leg. There was such damage to arteries, etc. But they looked like they'd saved the leg. She's got a phenomenal amount of recovery and rehab. Ilya Malinin, the American skater, crushed, felt the pressure, failed, fell in his final gold medal event. He'll be back. He's only 21 years of age. And, of course, the big negative story, they banned the Ukraine sledder who tried to honor the fallen soldiers. And virtually all the European athletes condemned the IOC for banning the Ukraine sledder who wanted to wear the helmet with the pictures adorned of 20 Ukrainian athletes who died in the war against Russia. And a Russian who was competing as an independent won a medal, and everybody left as they were awarding the Russian the medal.
Oh, that's harsh.
Yeah, that's harsh, but it's the world.
Yeah.
And the greatest piece of video, aside from the events and the boarding and the ski jumping, did you see the speed skating where a dog got out on the track on the final lap of speed skating, and the dog was chasing the first and second finishers to the finish line? It was really cool.
No, I missed that.
Oh, that was really neat. So all in all, I love the Winter Olympics. There's so many storylines, and there were a lot of tough stories to deal with here during this thing. I mean, Lindsay's crash, the end of Lindsay's career, obviously the Ukraine story. That's an amazing series.
How about Alyssa Liu, man? I mean, the gold medal over the figure skating, that performance was just
another world.
It was like a different level, you know, because mentally, athletically, everything was perfect, and she was so happy and joyful. I mean, you talk about, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what she's done, and she overcame so much, came back from the sport and went in and won gold. I'm just so thrilled for her. Yeah. The other thing I'll say is this, is that, over the last 15, 20 years, the X Games have sort of crept into the Olympics, not just the winter, but in the Summer Olympics.
Well, they made a splash, but I don't think it holds the same reverence now that it did when it first arrived.
The X Games? Yeah, well, because I think a lot of those sports you see them in the Olympics now. But the point is that we're getting to see things like, these half pipes. We're seeing a lot of these, the artistry of jumping, when they go off and then they're up in the air like a helicopter. So for me, I mean, this is kind of just a selfish story, but for me, when I was a kid, I was really into skateboarding and really into BMX racing. And so to see that evolution where that became big X Games content, now it's on the Olympic stage. It's kind of cool to see what I'll say are non-traditional sports that are being recognized with the classic sports of all time.
Does that mean you're going to vote yes as to whether ballroom dancing is an Olympic sport?
Well, that's ballroom dancing, not a sport. But baseball and softball need to get back in. I don't know. Have they been let back in?
They're going to come back in, I'm sure, in 2028.
Good. Okay.
So you're a hockey fan. Feel free. Jump on board. What you saw, what Team USA accomplished, what Connor Hellebuyck did. Feel bad for Canada? Or do you take my stance? Global hockey won. Holy cow, has global hockey finally arrived. All things as it relates to the Olympics. It's open for business. Fans Forum chat box now belongs to you. We will get to your comments at the end of the podcast. We go from that let's go to Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Padres spring training began. All eyes on pitching.
Storyline. Every day it's a different storyline as it relates to the Padres. And, there is now a real dogfight for who's going to be the fourth and fifth starter because the Padres have gone out and rented some veteran guys who've had some success in their career. Each of them has had an injury issue, but have brought all these guys in, and they're all going to compete for starting slots 4 and 5. Matt Waldron, knuckleballer 2 years ago, right after we started doing this podcast. Matt Waldron saved the Padres the first half of 2024. Hasn't been the same pitcher since. He's kind of reinvented himself. He's lost weight. He was clocked at 94 miles an hour with his fastball, which makes his knuckleball even more dangerous, in his first start on the weekend. Joe Musgrove threw 2 shutout innings on the backfields in a minor league start through his full repertoire. Walker Buehler, another bullpen session, clocked consistently at 93-94. Randy Vasquez against the Dodgers, 2 shutout innings. Jason Adams, full bullpen workout through his entire repertoire. That's a positive. Utility man Jose Miranda, who came from the Minnesota Twins, tried to win a spot on this roster. 5 hits in his first 2 games with the Padres. They're experimenting with dropping Tatis from leadoff down to number 4 so he can hit with guys on base in front of him. Negative, Tristan McKenzie, boy, he looked terrible in his first appearance, and they've been working with him since they got him to camp. Ruben Niebla, that is your project. Try to fix him. He was clocked at 98, but you never know where the 98 was going, and he couldn't get his other pitches over the plate. He had a really rocky first outing. So what'd you see this first weekend of Padres spring training baseball? A win, a couple losses.
Well, first of all, it's nice to see like a lot of the stars are playing in the early games because they're about to go play in the WBC.
Exactly.
So I like that. I mean, I think Jackson Merrill, he's talking about how this is a year for him to be a leader, especially when, Manny and Fernando and Xander and everybody else leaves for the WBC. But Vasquez, I think, has taken a step forward.
Yep.
I think this whole Yu Darvish, making him the Dominican Yu Darvish, I like that kind of idea. And all these other guys, like you said, they're all lottery tickets, right? And but a lot of these dudes, their velocity has gone up. I mean, Vasquez's velocity is up, and then in this case, it was Waldron. You said his velocity was up. That was true of a number of other pitchers.
Yeah, Buehler's at 93, 94 consistently. Vasquez was at 97.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I mean, already Mason Miller's thrown over 100. So, it's a fun time of the year, and you love seeing everybody out there at the ballpark. And, some of these, like Miranda, the Jose Miranda has been hitting the ball well. So you always kind of wonder who's going to be this year's Gavin Sheets, the guy that has a hot spring that we didn't think was going to make the team, and they kind of sneak in. Yeah,
it's interesting with the late arrival of Castellanos and the one they got from Cincinnati, Andujar. How does it impact Miranda? Because Miranda hit 262 with a little bit of pop with the Minnesota Twins. So there's going to be a fight maybe for pecking order on the bench.
Yeah, it just kind of makes me wonder if finances would play a role in that. I mean, they could probably cut Castellanos loose if he doesn't make the cut and just kind of wash the $800,000, that they owe him.
Yeah, but it's too early to talk about that. If dude is hitting 120 at the end of spring training, you say maybe he's lost his ability to swing, but can't talk about that at that point.
That's what I'm thinking is you're going to get near the end of spring training and you're going to be looking at Andujar and Castellanos and Miranda and probably a few other guys on the bubble. And some guys are not going to be playing well, and some guys are going to be playing very well. And so, you just have to have those hypotheticals in mind. Who are you going to keep and develop? Who are you going to send down? And who, if they don't really cut it, will get cut?
Or who will you be patient with to see if they can hit their way back?
Yeah, that too.
And the other piece of the equation, who do you convince to go to El Paso to start? Because the one thing we know, you're going to have injuries.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, this is still super duper early, but it's great that baseball is back. We're going to have baseball every weekend now until the end of October. It's fantastic.
Okay, those are all things Padres. You're a Padre fan. Jump on board. Give us your opinion, what you've seen so far in spring if we talk about the Padres, we are definitely going to talk about the Dodgers.
Yeah, the LA Dodgers. Who's ready and who is not?
Here's the most unique thing. The Dodgers situation involves who's healthy and who's not. The Dodgers situation is who's here getting on a plane to go to Japan and is hardly thrown at all. This is kind of really a strange feel. First things first, Shohei Ohtani is cleared to throw bullpens in Japan. Ohtani, as we speak, is on his way already to join Team Japan. He's not going to pitch for the WBC team, but he will be allowed to throw bullpens between workouts. So they're going to try to keep him in some rhythm in terms of getting ready when he comes back to be ready to pitch at the start of the season. What I find hard to believe is Yamamoto has thrown 1 2/3 innings in spring training, and he's not going to throw again in the start, and he's going to go, and he's going to be at the front end of the Team Japan rotation with hardly any starts here, which I kind of find is really hard to believe that he's not made more, I don't know what you'd call it, pitching starts in spring training here where they can control him. He went 1 2/3 in his only start in the Cactus League, and he's going to Japan. You're going to let Japan use him for 50 to 70 pitches to start a WBC game?
Man.
Wow, I find that one really, really strange. Blake Snell is only throwing on flat ground. He's kind of fallen way behind everybody. He's not ready to pitch in a Cactus League game, and now they're kind of assimilating the fact he's not going to be ready to start the season. So that's kind of weird. They've had to bring the schedule back for Brusdar Graterol. He's behind schedule. Of course, he's rehabbing from shoulder. He's not going to be ready to start the season. They're probably going to wind up putting him on the disabled list. And because you're a fashion critic, despite the way you dress,
Yeah.
Did you watch the Padre-Dodger game yesterday?
I did.
Did you see the Dodger blue tops?
Yeah.
Those are really cool. They ought to wear them during the season. Son.
Yeah, they always wear those in spring training, don't they?
Yeah,
the
but
solid blue.
They really look, solid blue looks really good.
So the Dodger uniform, color palette is
It's
fantastic.
classic.
It's just wonderful.
But so that's where we are. Dodger fans, you find this whole thing with the pitching staff a little strange. Not so much Ohtani, because they're going to manage Ohtani and just keep him in a ramped-up version over there, not pitching in games but throwing bullpens on an every third-day basis. But they're surprised letting Yamamoto not have more outings here before they put him on the plane to go throw 50, 70 pitches for Team Japan. I find that whole thing strange.
Well, maybe they think that he's going to get most of his reps, on Team Japan, getting ready for those games. And
yeah, but is he ready with max effort?
well, I mean, these guys have been, they throw the ball in the offseason, and they're working on things. A lot of these pitchers show up to spring training that they're almost ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, Blake Snell, here we go again.
Mystery.
The beginning of the year.
Why does this happen?
Yeah, he's either hurt or he gets off to a terrible start. So when's he projected to come back?
They don't think he's going to be ready for opening day to be in the rotation.
Yeah, so sometime May, maybe June. They probably, again, it might be load management, kind of the strategy. But let me ask you this. Let's assume that the Dodgers starting pitchers are all healthy. Who would you start on opening day?
Oh, it'd have to be Yamamoto.
Yeah.
And then obviously Glasnow is part of the equation. I'll be intrigued to see Sasaki, how he does, because they're going to start him in games in the Cactus League and see how Roki does. The big issue, could they develop a reliable third pitch for Sasaki so he could be in the rotation right from the get-go? And Snell, I don't think Snell's going to be part of the opening week rotation. I don't think he's any near ready.
God, come on, Blake. I mean, why does this happen every year?
I agree.
So anyways, once again, great. We're getting baseball back. And just to comment one more time on that uniform design, I remember as a kid seeing photos of spring training uniforms, and they would wear solid color tops, and so the Giants would always wear like orange or black, and then the Dodgers, of course, blue. But we never saw that in the regular season. It was either the home whites or the away grays. But I like how teams are incorporating those dark jerseys
colors, yeah.
now. But the Dodgers are kind of like the Yankees, where their uniform is just so classic. just so, it's like in the Louvre, that uniform, they're not going to mess around with in the regular season.
Isn't it amazing? You people watching us on live stream, taking fashion wear advice from this guy, the way this guy dresses. Jeez. Okay, that's all things Dodgers. Transform Chat Box is open for business. I may look bad, but at least I'm diverse.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on. This story has to be discussed.
The State of the Team address, Artie Moreno.
This is kind of hard to believe, and I'll just ask the question. I will give you the facts. You give me the response as to whether the media has misinterpreted what he said. So Artie Moreno breaks his embargo on talking to the media, talks to them on Friday. First time he's talked to them in well over a year. And he confirms that they have lost a lot of money. They've lost more than $50 million in the last 2 years because of the collapse of the regional sports networks. And he says that amount of money lost has impacted our payroll. He says the TV issue, more than anything else, has impacted what we're spending. And what they're spending is $155 million right now. Last year, their payroll was at $204. He says this team is not for sale. He says the Tyler Skaggs court case, as sad as it was, has not impacted our payroll and budget. He says, I am of the philosophy I'd rather develop prospects to win. He says just signing 2 free agents to big money contracts is not going to make a difference to the team. He says he thinks the most important hire is Mike Maddox as the team's pitching coach. And then he was asked, because it's been a decade since they've been in the playoffs and had a winning season, he was asked about what he feels the fans' reaction to everything is. And he drops this hint that the Angel organization put out a survey to fans, and the number one things that the fans said they wanted was affordability. Affordability to go to games, not winning. And the media took that not winning, not important headline and ran with it all weekend long. So I'm not sure that I necessarily think that what he said came out of the mouth the way he meant it. I believe he thinks the most important thing for the fans is to go to the games, have a really good experience. But the question is, he didn't say his philosophy was affordability. His philosophy was, I want to win. So the national media just took this thing and just ran with it against Artie Moreno. Now, I'll say this. You put out a survey, I'd like to see the survey. I'd like to see what questions you asked. Who did you send the survey to? Season ticket holders? Fans? Your family members? Nobody's seen the survey at all. So part of me thinks that Moreno, it came out of his mouth sideways. That's not what he meant. But if the fans checked off on this alleged survey that affordability going to games and the experience is more important than anything else, but boy, he's getting roasted nationally.
Good.
Your turn.
Yeah, he needs to be roasted. And do they want to be competitive? Well, Artie, the way you constructed this roster every year is sure not competitive. I mean, you can't make a competitive roster when you're picking up Yoan Moncada and Kirby Yates. I mean, what the hell? I mean, those guys, they're going to maybe get you around 500 if you're lucky. So the way this team is managed, the terrible decisions that have made. Now, granted, they've had bad luck for sure, but there's been a lot of awful decisions here. So I just sell the team, Artie. Man, I just unload the team. He said he was getting bids for it, but he doesn't want to sell it.
Yep.
I mean, but I think from the perspective of a fan, I think any fan would tell you that their most important thing is they want their team to win, right? And now, granted, sure, if you're a mom or a dad, you want to have a nice experience for the kids and make it a fun, festive place. And a lot of these ballparks have really upped their game, in terms of making it a really exciting time while you're there. But
amenities.
Yeah, but affordability. I mean, baseball is not the knothole gang, where people show up for $1 in the cheap seats. Baseball is not an affordable game anymore.
I think the thing that's offended people is it looks like a rich man, Artie Moreno, is doing his shopping at Dollar General.
Yeah.
And then charging major league prices. So this will be interesting to see where the story goes. I don't know that what came out of Artie's mouth, that was meant to be that way. but it is right now, and the national media has just taken it and run with it. You're an Angel fan. We got a lot of followers in Los Angeles and Orange County. Fans Forum chat box is open for business.
Got some good Angel comments already.
Oh, I bet we do.
Yeah.
Okay, we go from that. Let's go to the baseball notebook because there's a lot here to talk about.
Yeah, here we go, bouncing around the league.
Pittsburgh is in mourning. Legendary second baseman Bill Mazeroski, Hall of Famer, who hit the other shot heard around the world, has passed away at the age of 89. Really good glove, gold glove type guy if they gave out gold gloves in the 50s and 60s. Bill Mazeroski hit the game-winning 1960 home run for the Pirates at Forbes Field that beat the Yankees in the World Series. He just held in such esteem as an icon in the history of Pirate baseball. Not to the legend of Roberto Clemente, but damn close. Bill Mazeroski passes away. You remember last week we talked about Justin Verlander holding his first press conference in Detroit?
Oh, yeah.
And it was asked one question about pitching injuries. He went 7 minutes. Great explanation. Well, Leo Mazzoni, legendary Atlanta Braves pitching coach of years gone by, he was at the Braves spring training camp, and he was asked almost kind of the same question that was posed to Justin Verlander. And Mazzoni's reaction was, I know what works to keep pitchers healthy. Velo and spin rate is not it.
Yeah.
So he left it at that. White Sox debut game. Muntaka Murakami from Japan, 2 for 4, first game on the weekend.
All right.
Stroking it. Now we're going to follow the Japanese free agents that got the big money contracts. We'll follow them throughout the course of the spring. New address, Nolan Arenado, Arizona. Home run, first at bat, Cactus League. Diamondbacks. Polar bear sighting, Baltimore in the snow. Pete Alonso, 2-run home run, first game for the Orioles. And Major League Baseball sent out the results of a survey they did on the ABS RoboUmp, automated balls and strikes, because there's been a big discussion in a bunch of these dugouts this past weekend. Who's going to make the call? Are you going to trust your batter, your catcher, or your pitcher if you want to use a challenge on the ABS system? Well, Major League Baseball sent out the results from last spring when they used it actually in spring training games. 41% of the pitchers who made the call got the correct call made. 50% of the batters who said challenge, 50% got the call right. Mm-hmm. Catchers, 56%. Mm-hmm. Catchers have a better idea what's a ball, what's a strike than anybody else.
Yeah.
And the response from Dave Roberts, pitchers got great talent. Pitchers think every pitch they throw is a strike.
Right.
Pitchers are too emotional.
Yes.
Said, my pitchers can't do this. So it'll either be the catcher or if they're at bat, it'll be the batter to make the choice to challenge in the ABS system. So, John, go ahead. News and notes baseball. Oreo and Maz hit the home run. I was a kid watching it on a black and white TV, and I saw the home run in 1960.
Well, I wasn't but a twinkle in my mom's eye in 1960. So, I've seen the video of it, and that's Forbes Field. I mean, it looks like a really small ballpark.
It was, yeah, weird angles and everything.
Yeah, so, yeah, you hear all about Bill Mazeroski, and I don't know, it seems like his legend is bigger than him. Granted, there's been a lot of guys that have hit big-time home runs, like Joe Carter for the Toronto Blue Jays, but Mazeroski almost has a different level of reverence for old-time baseball fans. But I think of the greats of the Pirates. I'm thinking of Dave Parker. I'm thinking of Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell.
Yeah, the We Are family.
Yeah, those are good times.
That's an interesting one. They tore Forbes Field down. Forbes Field was built to weird angles because it's right on the butts the University of Pittsburgh campus.
Oh.
The Tower of Learning is right there in left field beyond the left field wall.
Oh,
so when they tore Forbes Field down, they kept the corner of the wall, 357 sign and a cement block right there. That is there as part of the University of Pittsburgh campus now.
Interesting.
I went and visited, and it's covered by ivy, and it's got 357 and a plaque side of Bill Mazeroski's home run. It's cool.
That is cool. That is really cool. So, I mean, the Pirates, they don't get a lot of love, So it's nice to see, we're talking about the Pirates. Mazeroski, Hall of Famer. Leo Mazzoni, he has cred, street cred, to comment on this, because if you think back in the 90s, the top three guys, Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine, they didn't really have very many arm problems. I know Smoltz
had surgery.
Only one. Was it Smoltz, wasn't it?
One surgery.
Just remember, he was a starter, and then he had the surgery, and then he went to the bullpen. He was a closer for a few years, and then he came back and was a starter. Mm-hmm. But then even guys there were other pitchers there, like Steve Avery. I can't remember what his injury history is. He might have had a little
bit of strikes.
Yeah. Leo knows what's going on.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear that revelation. Okay. You got it, you're a baseball fan? Want to jump in here? Join us, Fans Forum chat box. It's open for you, the Baseball Notebook headlines. We are at halftime. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Been in business for more than 100 years. And I'll tell you what's going on at Dixieline right now? This is the time to think about windows and doors. You don't like your house right now because of draft and wind? Think about windows and doors. Here comes spring and then summer. And, of course, then you get heat, you get humidity, and you get air conditioning bills. Think about windows and doors. John, you got them. I got them. They work.
Yeah, and if you're in your house right now and you're freezing your butt off, check your windows. You might be having some leakage there. So, Dixieline's a great partner. There's a lot of places to go shopping for replacement windows here in San Diego. It seems like everyone and their brother has got a pickup truck and can provide the windows. But the best thing about Dixieline is they provide the top brands, like Milgard and Anderson windows, but they also back it, not just with the warranty from Anderson and Milgard and all the other brand names, but Dixieline puts their name on it as well. And so Dixieline's helping you get the installation done. They're going to put their name, their brand name of 100 years in San Diego behind that project. So Dixieline's someone you can really trust rather than some of the fly-by-nighters.
Dixieline. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the different things that they've got to offer, including windows and doors. Give it serious consideration. We are at halftime, our Monday bonus podcast. Hey, listen, we got a program note because of travel conflicts. We're going to take this Thursday off, so we won't have a podcast this coming Thursday. But Pal will be back a week from today, back in, same time, same slot, etc., etc. So Thursday will be an off day. Couple of other notes. When we're done, you take over the podcast because we put hot topics on the table. We tell you what we think, and then you take over in what's called Fans Forum. And John described different ways you can get involved on Fans Forum.
Yeah, different ways. So the easy way is jump on board now, get in the live chat on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, or if you're watching the recorded version, just leave your hot take in the comment section, especially on Facebook and Instagram. That's where I usually do most of my hunting for social media comments. But just drop your take. We have a lot of really good, loyal guys that join us, but we'd love to see some more new faces.
Yeah, we do get some foul ball takes too.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but there's a lot of Olympic comments and a lot of Angel comments that are piling in already.
Okay, so Fans Forum chat box is open for those of you on live stream, and at the same time, if you're watching it at a later time, you can still reach us through those different Fans Forum chat boxes. I want you to do another favor for us. Because we do this and we've done it for 4 years, we want you to help us grow this thing. Give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button, give us a 5-star rating. It really helps us a great deal grow this podcast. You like sports? Check my website. Go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I write on it every day. That website's there first thing every morning. Would you like newsletters? Want you to join us on the email team. It's called Hacksaw's Insiders Group. On my website, on the page, there's a big orange box. Fill it out. Get on the email list. John and I send out 2 sports newsletters a day to your email inbox. So just sign up for that. Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You're on Twitter. I know you're on Twitter. Don't lie to me about not being on Twitter. I know you're on X. I want you to join me on my Twitter All-Star team. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit follow, or Hacksaw1090, hit follow, and then that way you'll be able to participate in my Hacksaw mini polls. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go to the second half because we got a lot of other hot topics we're going to talk about.
You were banging out a tweet like right before we went live.
Yes, I went on X just to remind everybody. Program note: Hacksaw's podcast about to begin at 1:30.
There you go. All right.
But I forgot to put the phrase there I usually finish. Get off your ass and get online.
Okay.
Okay, let's move to the second half.
Okay, here we go. San Diego State behind the 8 ball.
Boy, I tell you what, such negative vibes right now. I mean, the Aztecs, they're right now on the bubble. You know, we could rationalize and say, okay, they'll take care of business when we get to the Mountain West Conference tournament, but there's been no consistency to Aztec basketball. And they're just not the team that we hoped they would be, that we expected them to be. It's going to turn out to be disappointing because they've just never been able to come together. That was a bad loss at Colorado State. Colorado State just blew their doors off, and that came on the bad home court loss to a pretty good Grand Canyon team. I think what stuns me right now, there just seems to be no interior Aztec defense, no perimeter defense to stop guys from launching threes, no consistency to the team performance. At one stretch against Colorado State, they were shooting 26% from the floor, and they were getting their lunch handed to them on the boards. It's just not the same basketball team. And I don't know if it's energy, whether it's altitude, it's just not the same team. Do you know they're 2-7 against the best teams on their schedule this year? 18-7, but it's a very erratic 18-7 team. Colorado State hit 13 threes. Guys, little perimeter defense, hands in the face. What are you doing? 13 threes. And Colorado State hit 24, 29 in free throws because the Aztecs kept taking fouls. I feel really sorry for Magoon Guath. He's just not healthy, and you could see his confidence has eroded. And, you know, it's taken him a year to come back from the knee surgery. Then he had the hip strain. Now he's got back stiffness. He's got some more pain in his knee. So at this point, it's just not the same player that we thought he would be. It takes time. And they still got to go to New Mexico. They still got to go to Boise and get Utah State here in the middle of the week. And it's been such a Jekyll-Hyde Mountain West season. Every one of those top teams that we thought going to be special has had problems. I mean, aside from the Aztecs, how about Utah State? They lost to Nevada, got punched in the mouth by Nevada. And the Aztecs and Lobos have both lost. So Utah State's 13-3 in the conference. State is an unimpressive 12-4 because we expect so much because that's who they've become. And New Mexico is 12-4. So to me, it's just not the same basketball team. And I think injuries more than anything else have just who's not been able to practice on a consistent basis. Boy, it's frustrating because we see flashes. And I say, wow, looks like they've arrived. And then we see what happened up at Fort Collins after what happened at home to Grand Canyon.
Did we hype them too much in the offseason?
We expected too much. And I guess that's part of the media. That's part of being a fan. Mm-hmm. I had reservations about Guath coming back to be what Guath was because of the knee surgery. That takes time, and then he's had all these other complications. But I don't understand the inconsistency from virtually everybody else.
You know, it's weird. Like I was watching the game, and very frustrating game to watch, but the Colorado State would really work the shot clock, and they'd be passing the ball, a lot of movement, and the defense was good for like the first 2/3 of the shot clock, but they would run it down, to less than 5 seconds before they make that shot. And the last guy that shot would have no one on him. It was like the defense sort of ran out of gas at the end of the shot clock.
They had 7 straight threes in that game. They got him back in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, have you seen Mark Ziegler's 3 Things article?
Yes. Well, he's insinuating something bad's going to happen at the end of the year. That to me is too much of a reach. I mean, there's too many good kids in that program who came here because of Dutcher. I don't think they're all going to bail. I mean, Mark Ziegler in the UT, who writes a lot of think piece columns, this to me was a little bit of a reach.
Well, okay, I don't know how true or not it is, but it's very plausible. Just the way that the NIL and transfer portal are. You got guys like Elsie Harrington that arguably could have been in a Power 5 school, or Power 4. Same with Magoon Guath. There's a lot of guys that are probably thinking I can do better than this. And the energy is and a negative vibe, you can feel it, with the way the players are. And by the way, Aztec Nation was apoplectic after that game. Just so, like, didn't know how to respond. They were all reacting. So I don't know. At least it answers, like, if they are low energy, low focus, then if they're thinking about next year, or if they're thinking, I'm kind of done with this team, then that explains why they've been so inconsistent. I just hope that's not the truth.
I don't think it's the truth. I think it's more about Guath and some injuries. But it is strange with the collection of really good players who played really well in spurts that there's no thread of consistency at all.
Now, it's interesting because, like, Reese Dixon Waters, like, when he shoots, it seems like he's going to make every shot, but he doesn't.
Then it goes 2 for 9, and then MIA the last game.
And when it's funny, he'll make the crazy tough shot, but sometimes the routine, isolated mid-range jump shot isn't falling for him.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a challenge for Brian Dutcher just to reel these guys in and get them laser focused to be who they could be, because they've been that before.
Now, one line of argument is that they need to reduce the rotation because they're using 11 guys. Mm-hmm. So that probably adds more negative vibes where guys aren't getting the minutes. They're on the bench too long. Some people in Aztec Nation are saying, okay, we love our team, but let's not play Sean Newman or Jeremiah Oden like nearly as much, maybe not at all, and have a 9-man rotation, because when they had a 9-man rotation, they were undefeated. It was awful that we didn't have LZ and Magoon, but they still won, because I think you need to be in a rhythm. You need a confidence to play basketball. And if you're only getting like 5 minutes here and 3 minutes there, that ain't working.
Well, they still got time to figure it out, but boy, this is really strange. Speaking of strange, next topic on the table, because I don't think you can forget what has just happened.
Yeah, Mick Cronin, man, he kind of lost it. Not good. Not a good reflection for UCLA.
No, exactly. The LA Times called for the dismissal of Mick Cronin, the basketball coach. Way too volatile for me. That's a big issue. Unbelievable comeback win. They were down by 23 at Pauley Pavilion to 10th-ranked Illinois, and they stormed back to win the game. This came 24 hours after Mick Cronin had apologized for his treatment of Stephen Jamerson when he ejected him from a game at Michigan State. He actually embarrassed and humiliated his own player, and then he went off on the media for the tone of questions. So he apologized on Friday. And his comments were, I'm not bigger than the brand. I don't want to bring any negative publicity to this university. I don't care what people think. The national media has just painted him as mean-spirited and a negative person. He admitted, I got to dial back the emotion. He then gave himself a vote of confidence. I do fit here. Sorry. I've listened to 2 years of the crap that comes out of his mouth and the way he treats people, now with his own players, but how he's reacted to the media. I just don't think he's a UCLA man. But yet they gave him a big contract extension with a contract buyout. So this is on the athletic director, the same athletic director that wrecked the football program with Chip Kelly. They've got a lot of internal problems at UCLA because of that guy. I'm tired of the act. I've seen it for 2 years running. And by what a weird weekend in college basketball. Number 1, Michigan got taken out by Duke, and Duke has been hot and cold. Now Duke has elevated itself to number 1 on the poll. Number 2, Houston. They got taken out by Arizona. Arizona, which had lost back-to-back. Arizona has now elevated in the poll. March Madness. There is no difference between 1 and 6 in the polls. And every one of them has had a losing streak now. So it's going to be, March Madness is just going to be fun, starting with where we are at number 1 with Duke, through Michigan, through Arizona, down to Iowa State, to Purdue, to UConn. It's going to be fun. And Houston.
It's always great. March Madness is just the greatest sporting event, I think, of any sporting event. To me, if you take the tournament as a total, it's more important to me than the World Series or the Super Bowl. It's certainly more than the NFL and NBA Finals. But by the way, UCLA's in the Big Ten. I mean, are they even in some of the bracketology? No, they're not even on the radar, are they?
No, and they've got 18 wins, but they're terrible on the road. Yeah. Get on a plane and get a loss.
See,
so what are you telling? Have you had enough of Mick Cronin?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, granted, if he was lighting the world on fire, on the court, but he's not. But the other thing, he's been like this for the last couple of years, real volatile, pointing fingers at everyone. To me, UCLA is, they're one of, if not the number one public university in America.
There's a standard.
Yeah. So this is a high level academic institution, and you don't want to have the brand of the school like tarnished by some
crackpot.
Some whack job that's going off on this. It doesn't. I mean, to me, he needs to be dismissed. I agree with the LA Times.
No can do.
He's got to eat the contract. And
Martin Jarman just gave him a 3-year contract extension with a $22 million buyout.
Well, that guy also signed DeMarcus.
Deshaun Foster.
Deshaun Foster, pardon me, excuse me. So
and Chip Kelly.
Yeah, so maybe he needs to go. Maybe the athletic director needs to go too.
No, but they gave Jarman a contract extension. Oh, UCLA, you got some big time internal structure.
We got to blame the chancellor now.
Yeah. And he just changed. Okay. You're a UCLA fan? You tell me. You had enough of this guy? Because to me, the guy's treatment of his own people, his own program, on top of his treatment of everybody from the outside, is beyond saving. We go from that, talk a little NBA basketball. Uh-oh,
Lakers ticket prices are going way up.
Oh, if you were on their email list, you would have gotten this email. They sent out an email announcing ticket price increases of 14 to 45% through the roof. And this is a franchise that is playing to 99.8% capacity in that arena. But they send out this email. Listen to some of the sentences in the email. We have a legacy of excellence. We have iconic expectations. Every Lakers season is about a title. That's what they put in the email. To which my response is, you've won one championship since 2005, and that was in the COVID year. You've been knocked out of the playoffs virtually every year in the first round or the play-in round in the last decade. Just don't tell me about Laker legacy, because we haven't seen any of that in the Genie Bus era.
No.
Laker legacy is Pat Riley and Jerry West and all the great players of Showtime and prior to that. Not this. 14 to 45% increase in ticket prices. And then last night, they unveiled the statue outside of the arena for Pat Riley, legendary coach and general manager. It was really classy. And they go out and they play the Boston Celtics, and they got smoked at home. And James Worthy, who was honored before the game as one of Riley's go-to guys, James Worthy goes on TV and says, Laker basketball, no defense, no rebounds, no wins. No pride in the uniform. He just nailed them on TV last night. So that's a Lakers story. Go ahead and respond to that.
I was going to say Big Game James, man. I mean, that guy's a dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like him. First of all, from a business point of view, if you're selling out 98.9%?
99.8.
99 point, which is basically every game is a sellout. So, yeah, as a business person, you can raise the prices.
But to that amount?
Well, that's a lot, okay? But it's not like they need the money to make payroll, because they're already probably have the biggest payroll, or they're near the cap, right?
And they're all just purchased by Mark Walter, Guggenheim Dodgers.
Yeah, well, you got to trust those guys. They're getting results. So to me, a lot of this is just ever since, Dr. Jerry Buss passed and the torch was passed to his daughter, that's when everything kind of went downhill.
Yep. And
I wanted her to be successful, but it's just not working. So if the new Guggenheim guys are coming in and saying, we're going to rebuild, this franchise and make it what it used to be, Showtime LA, and they actually kind of build towards it and make decisions in that direction, good on them. But yeah, that's a lot of money. And their prices aren't cheap in the first place.
Concur. The other story just broke this morning. The New York Times wrote an in-depth piece about the Clippers' salary cap circumvention, Kawhi Leonard. New York Times wrote a story because their sources are saying the NBA is going to drop the hammer on the LA Clippers maybe by the end of the season. They're not doing it right now, because the season's on, and this is a complex investigation. But they're quoting sources as saying they're going to drop a hammer, and they're going to void Kawhi Leonard's contract and ban him from signing with the Clippers again, that he'll be removed from the Clippers at the end of the year. The second piece of the equation, in essence, they're finding the Clippers guilty of salary cap circumvention, and they're asking the question, Steve Ballmer may have knowledge that this is coming, and that's why he made all these trades to stockpile all these number ones, because the NBA is going to take some of his number ones from him. And the third one was he gave the general manager a vote of confidence on a contract extension because he does not want to lose Lawrence Frank when the hammer falls on him and they take their ability to put a good roster together away. So he signed Frank to a contract extension. So it's interesting. The New York Times are of the opinion the NBA has enough information that they circumvented the salary cap by what Kawhi did, Kawhi demanded, and this is what's going to happen maybe at the end of the season before the playoffs begin. Wow.
That is interesting. Well, clearly they broke the rule. And then in this case, Ballmer, who's a guy that we've always kind of held in high esteem, he's got to be aware of what went down on this. So it's awful. I mean, but it's just so Clippers. It's just something doesn't work, and they always have problems. Even going back to the days of San Diego Clippers, that's a franchise that you would love to see have some success, and they just can't get out of their own way.
And they've tried so hard 3 different times, and now this looks like it's going to blow up in their face again. And you start when you take your top player off the roster, if this happens, if they void that contract and ban him from ever re-signing with the Clippers and put him out in the street, you're losing that player, and you're losing draft picks on top of it. Wow. How do you fix your franchise?
Yeah, I mean, does Kawhi Leonard's reputation get tarnished from all of this?
Big time.
But he'll have no trouble signing somewhere else.
Yeah, but again, that's 3 knee surgeries. His value goes down with a lot of miles on him.
He looked good in the All-Star game. He was the only guy playing.
He looked good last night. Scored 37. Okay, you're a Laker fan. What do you think about the Lakers? Did you get that mail? You want to talk about the Clippers and what this report in the New York Times is all about? Feel free. Jump on board. Let's talk to NFL football.
Yeah, lots going on in the NFL. Morning, moves, and money.
Terrible story, Minnesota. Wide receiver Rondale Moore commits suicide over the weekend at his home in Indiana, killed with a self-inflicted gunshot wound in his garage. Wide receiver had missed 2 years in a row with major knee surgeries with injuries, had concussions before that. He's only 25 years of age. And the outpouring of grief from the Vikings and from the other teams that he played with, Arizona Cardinals, just unbelievably deep. He was very well liked, etc. And it begs the question, and he was exchanging texts with other NFL players an hour before he walked into the garage and shot himself. Ooh. So, I mean, I always raise the question, it begs the question, how come nobody ever sees this? And this point was driven home to me when Junior Seau died. And he had his circle of NFL friends and players and family friends, and nobody saw what was going on to him mentally and emotionally. And nobody had any indication what was going on with Rondale Moore. Oh, my goodness. What a terribly, terribly sad story. Rams, they now have a new offensive coordinator. This is, guys, a hot commodity. They promoted Nate Scheelhaas from passing game assistant coach to offensive coordinator over the weekend. Hot commodity. They're going to try to hold on to him. Sean McVay has lost 5 assistant coaches who become coordinators or head coaches off his staff. That's quite a family tree that he has developed. So Scheelhaas becomes the offensive coordinator, and Cliff Kingsbury comes from the Washington Commanders. He's going to be the passing game coordinator under this Rams offense. Seattle, great season. Do have the Super Bowl ring. Jackson Smith and Jiba. I should be the number 1 paid receiver in the country, and he's going to ask for $41 million a year in a contract extension. And, of course, Seattle also has to take care of the free agent running back, Kenneth Walker, who becomes a free agent in a couple of weeks. And he's going to ask for a mega pay raise there, too. And then the final one is the Chargers. Joe Ortiz has gone to the Combines in Indianapolis. And this is weird for him to say this over the weekend. We're not going to go on a spending spree. What? He says, we got problems. We're going to be very calculated. We're not going to make another mistake in terms of a big money contract. You got to believe, you can't believe that. You're not going to sign free agent offensive linemen to protect your valuable quarterback. You got to be kidding me. Because now the reality is he just got burned. He got burned for $20 million when he signed Mickey Becton from the Philadelphia Eagles, who just flat out was terrible and couldn't stay healthy and couldn't block. Mickey Becton was 49th rated pass blocker, 129th rated run blocker in the league. And you signed him for a $20 million deal. But I can't believe that Ortiz says we're not going to go into free agency extensively. He's also got to pay either Khalil Mack or Odafe Owe, the two outside linebackers, because they're both unrestricted free agents too. So you got to spend some money.
Yeah, I think you're misreading this. I mean, because when they signed Becton, I mean, that wasn't let's just say a safe free agent choice. That was a gamble, because they knew they were getting baggage when he came over from Philadelphia, and they were hoping that they could fix him, and it didn't work. Right?
$20 million.
Yeah, so that's probably why they have a little bit of buyer's remorse. So to me, what I'm reading from when he said that is they're still going to be active as free agents, but they're not going to roll the dice on guys that have a big asterisk next to their name, So they're going to get more proven commodities, is what I'm expecting to see here. So, I don't have a problem with that comment.
Okay.
And then Jackson Smith-Njigba. Dude deserves $41 million. I mean, he was the offensive player of the year in the NFC. I mean, so I love guys getting paid. I just don't know how they're going to make it all fit, because Darnold's making some good money there too.
Well, same thing with the Rams. What are they going to pay Puka, considering what they have to pay Matthew Stafford? Can you afford to have two $40 million guys on your roster?
Yeah, you're going to have two or three $40 million guys and a bunch of guys at the minimum, it sounds like a lot what happens in the other two big sports. And the Vikings story, that's a tough one. To your point, why didn't anybody know? Why didn't anybody speak up, especially with, CTE? Because you said he had concussions, right? Early. So, you just have to have greater, I don't know, how should I say, more love extended to your family to play football. And you got to be brave enough to ask them tough questions when they're not acting right.
Or the players have to have the mindset, I need help. Reach out.
Oh, but they won't, because they're tough guys, and so they're not going to admit any kind of a weakness. So I think that's why it's incumbent on family and friends to really watch out.
Step in
for the guy, for sure.
And I'll tell you, read the tweets of sadness from Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings coach. Oh, just moving. And the fact that this kid, and he was a really good prospect coming out of Purdue, and he said nothing but injuries, just bad luck. I mean, back-to-back years, seasons wiped out on knee surgeries. This kid was texting to other NFL guys and other NFL teams that he was fellows with, just as if everything was fine and dandy and we're laughing and joking. And
well, just think about how tormented he must have been inside. Because here he's texting his guys.
At 11 a.m. and he goes out at noon and kills himself.
Yeah, because, he's on the team, but he's not in the locker room, he's not part of the team because he's been on the sideline. So that's rough, man. And remember the Cowboys, they had a guy.
Well, the defensive end that killed himself.
Yeah. So it's that's what I'm saying, is that we need to be watching out for our guys, giving them some extra TLC. You know what I mean?
Or ask the hard question.
Yeah.
Are you having problems? Because the modern-day athlete, and it doesn't matter whether it's the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, or Major League Baseball, they've got the best healthcare system in society. And right there on your union card, you have a personal problem, here's a toll-free 888 number to call, and we will put you in contact with the right people who will help you. And nobody does it. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There are guys who do it.
Yeah, see, I mean, again, that kind of goes back to family, values, education, and kind of how they've been raised. Because if they're not willing to have self-awareness or to be a little bit vulnerable, then there's going to be a big wall there, and they're never going to call that number.
Or the term you're looking for is machismo.
Oh, right.
I am who I am.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Horrible. If Fans Forum chat box is open, you want to talk about what we just covered in the NFL Notebook. Final topic on the table before we let you take over this podcast, late-breaking stories.
Hey, we're going to the high-speed SPORTSWIRE. Kick it off with some Kings hockey.
And let's just talk about what's happening around the National Hockey League. These teams now have their players back. Thursday, the second half of the back half of the Olympic schedule starts. Rumors everywhere the Kings are going to try to make a trade. They have to make a trade now that they've lost Kevin Fiala. Hot rumor, they're talking to Edmonton about Evander Kane. They're talking to Montreal about right winger Patrick Laine. They're talking to Toronto about Bobby McMahon. Those old guys are at the end of the road, have got 1 year or half a year left on a contract. McMahon is the most intriguing one to me because he's a young free agent that's turned into a 20-goal scorer who plays the body. If the Kings could get him, that would really help them a great deal. So keep an eye out for that. The second logo, you might not recognize it. I know who this guy was. That's the logo of the Seattle Totems. Who are they? Seattle Totems played very successful minor league hockey team forever in the Western Hockey League. That was when West Coast Hockey had, in essence, a AAA league that was powerful. A guy by the name of Guile Fielder just passed away over the weekend. He was a captain for the Seattle Totems for 15 years. He played with that team, played 25 years of minor league hockey. He scored over 2,000 points, third most points in the history of all hockey, and that includes Gretzky and Ovechkin and anybody else. Guile Fielder just passed away. He was an icon, played for the Seattle Totems. Soccer, how about SDFC? Open the season, bang. 5-0 win over Montreal. A lot of questions. They opened the season with no Chucky Lozano, opened the season without their number 1 and 2 goaltenders. They went with a young 19-year-old goaltender, Dwayne Ferry, who really played well, had a clean sheet, pitched a shutout in his first game against Montreal. So SDFC. They drew 32,000 at Snapdragon. Holy cow, it's like the Mardi Gras. It's just the fan support from either side of the border for SDFC is just spectacular. But it's going to be a very different team. And we're just going to have to see if the guys they lost can be replaced by other guys. The problem is the CJ Dos Santos, it does not look like he's going to be able to play for an extended period. He had the fractured orbital bone, in essence a concussion. He's got double vision, and this happened very early last season, and he has not made enough recovery to actually be on the pitch. So that's tough. But they come out of the gate with the first victory. And speaking of soccer, Inter Miami, MLS, home of Lionel Messi and Robert Suarez, they come out here to the West Coast. They play LAFC, MLS opener, and they get shut out 3-0 at the LA Coliseum. Lionel Messi's team. And how about this? 75,673 fans saw that game at the LA Coliseum.
Right on.
So MLS off and running. John, hockey, soccer.
I love that logo for the Seattle Totems.
Yep.
And I just like the whole native art because I like that style of art in the Seahawks logo. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me a little bit of the Aztecs, too, with some of the artwork they have as well. So it's interesting to listen to this story about the guy that passed away, 15 years in the minors. It makes me think of
22 years in the minors, 15 years with Seattle.
Oh, my God.
Fielder.
Well, that's like, remember in the movie Bull Durham, Crash Davis was in the minors forever. It sounds like the same sort of thing. I wonder why he never got called up.
He was only 5'9". He was really undersized. And it was also the original 6.
Oh, yeah.
Were not a lot of jobs. And also the Western Hockey League, like baseball's old Pacific Coast League, they paid really well. And guys couldn't go up there, so I might as well stay here, establish myself in the community. I've read stories about him, never had the chance to meet him. I went back and looked up his resume, his statistics in Hockey Reference. It's unbelievable. He spent 22 years riding buses. But the old Western Hockey League, that was a hell of a league. The San Diego Gulls were in the old Western Hockey League. Mm-hmm. Portland Buckaroos, legendary franchise.
Buckaroos.
The Vancouver Canucks original team was in the old Western Hockey League. So it was a great minor league. It was like the old American Hockey League, which was just below the NHL. There are guys who went and played in the AHL for 15 years because they couldn't get. There's only six teams in the NHL, and those guys stayed in Buffalo and stayed in Rochester and all the other places in the old AHL because the pay was good, and this is where they became stars. They put down roots in the community.
Now, when you were broadcasting for Utica, was that is that the equivalent of single A or double A in baseball?
That was double A. That was a notch below the American League.
Okay.
But we had a lot of young guys. That's where, and again, that's when the World Hockey Association formed, and they were signing all these number one draft picks from the NHL, stealing them, overpaying them, and they would send them to ARTE, to where I was in Mohawk Valley, and we would have these number one draft picks making good money, good young talent, giving them a chance to grow, and then they get called up to the WHA.
Interesting.
But it was different from the American Hockey League from back in the day, different from the Seattle Totems, Portland Buckaroos, the old San Diego Gulls. That was really great hockey, and guys who came and played here forever.
See, I like the sports history. I mean, we talk about, all the different sports media outlets that are there, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but you don't get a lot of sports history talk. But we can do that with you, with your background.
It's called experience.
Yeah. Good on you. We were talking about Mark Grant and the Phoenix Giants and all that.
Ball.
Yeah. So and by the way, the San Diego FC game, I watched that, and I mean that was just a rout. I mean it was, they were scoring, and then the other team, Montreal, one of the guys got red carded, so they were down a man. So it just became a rout. But just the whole that cheering section that's right behind the goal in Snapdragon, those guys, man, I mean, they just are having a hell of a party out there.
Mardi Gras. Yeah,
I mean, it's just they got all the chants, they got everybody into it, and it's just like it's a cool vibe. But I wish we'd see more of that kind of fan participation in other sports.
I wish we could see it on TV. It's on Apple TV. I wish they had a local outlet where you could just punch the game on Channel 5 or KUSI or CBS 8 or NBC 7 and just let the fans experience what has been built there. I mean, because it is really different.
Yeah, I mean, we had to sign up for the MLS, what do they call it, the ticket or something, and it was like $90 that was on top of the Apple subscription. But it'd be nice if it was more widely available. Sometimes you'll see MLS games like on Fox Sports 1 or something, maybe like a game of the week kind of a thing. But I think, and the fact they had 77,000 in LA Coliseum. 73. See, that just goes to show you that soccer is a growing sport, and SoCal loves soccer. Yep. So they're showing up for the two LA teams and for San Diego. This is all really good vibes.
I agree. Okay, those are topics on the table. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. Just a reminder, you got projects, they got materials. You need to go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. All right, John, let's do something different. Let's start with social media today, because I know there's a lot of stuff stacked up in your social media folder. We'll do that, and then we'll go to the Fans Forum chat box. So just fire away here, because we got some extra time. Go ahead, and let's just run some of that through, and then we'll go to the Fans Forum.
Okay. All right. Let's see where we're going to start here. Okay. We'll talk Padres. And this is with Life. What does that say? Life of Dete? He goes, hey, don't sleep on Sears, Vasquez, and McKenzie.
Well, McKenzie's got to prove, because he has not pitched well in more than a year and a half. He pitched really well. He was vibrant his first year plus with the Cleveland Guardians and has gone off track. However, the linchpin to this whole thing, who was working with him as a young pitcher? Ruben Niebla, who was in Cleveland at that point, is now the Padres pitching coach. So I have no doubt A.J. Preller walked down the dugout and said, this is your homework assignment. Get this kid straightened out. I don't know about Sears. Sears is pitching this afternoon. He's not pitched well as a starter. Vasquez, and John and I both agree, Vasquez has really taken a jump in a year plus. When they force-fed him 2 summers ago, he wasn't ready. He got progressively better and more aggressive. So Vasquez is part of the rotation. It's going to take some work for Niebla to figure out McKenzie.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool seeing McKenzie because he's very unique. He's just so tall and lanky.
Gangly, yeah.
But the talk on Padre Twitter was that they were encouraged. With McKenzie, obviously didn't get the right results, but they said his stuff looked really good.
But you got to be able to throw it over the plate.
Well, he's got to do that. He's got to have work to do. And his fastball also seen an increase in velocity.
98 when he started.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, he's another lottery ticket. He's a guy that's been in the minors quite a bit, so it wouldn't surprise me if he's kind of already earmarked for El Paso.
But the fact that he had the relationship with Niebla in Cleveland before Ruben left, and he had his best year and a half in Cleveland when Ruben was there in his ear.
Well, we saw that from Griffin Canning. He came over and says, I know the reputation of the Padres pitching staff and Ruben Niebla and the way they rebuild these guys. So this is cool. I mean, from the Padre perspective.
Life, you Jonas again. Thank you.
I share your opinion about Sears, by the way. Okay, let's go here to Robert of some Hacksaw love. Even 25 years later, still love your radio voice and analysis. Do enjoy your work.
Well, thank you very much. We work very hard at it, and you are right. I am bleeping brilliant. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, let's talk Dodgers baseball with Ventura Guerrero. Hey, nobody seems to notice that the Dodgers could have easily lost the World Series multiple times. They were literally fractions of an inch away from losing. That was not an easy championship win. Dave doesn't just roll the baseballs out and say, now go win. I know all the haters try to push the narrative that winning is easy for the Dodgers, but people who know baseball know the truth.
Hey, at the end of the day, they made the plays. Blue Jays did not. Blue Jays broken-hearted. The Dodgers have earned it. The Dodgers have earned it when they came from 2-1 down to the Padres and won that playoff series. So, no, there's nothing wrong. I mean, are the haters out there? Probably because of the amount of money the Dodgers spend. But, salute Dodger baseball. They've earned all these first-place finishes and obviously back-to-back World Championship rings. And they survived because they made the plays. Pages does not make that play against the outfield wall. If Rojas doesn't make that play at second base, Toronto wins the World Series. But the Blue Jays didn't make their plays. Dodgers won. Dodgers earned it. Am I right or am I right?
Dodgers.
I am right?
Yeah, you are. I mean, yeah, it was just they got all the breaks in that World Series last year.
They made the breaks.
Well, yeah, I mean, but still, like Will Smith getting that guy out at home plate by like a millimeter, and then the collision with Kike and Pages in the outfield, and they still ended up getting the out. I mean, just Dodgers, it's just they're really well run. They're a great brand. They hit on all cylinders. Now, for me, they're the evil empire because I'm originally a Giants fan. That's my childhood team. I'm more of a Padres guy now. So I'm always they're going to be the dragon that I want to see slayed. But really, as a baseball fan, a sports fan, I mean, it's an excellent franchise and you got to give it up. But damn it, I want the Dodgers to lose. I don't want a three-peat. I'd love to see the Padres or the Giants win the NL West. And I know that's like really low odds. I mean, it's really the NL West is the Dodgers.
Invitational.
Yeah.
Ventura, you're correct. Dodgers earned it. You join us again. Thank you.
Okay. Let's talk some NHL here with Lauer. Hey, Lee, can my Stars win the Cup this year?
Dallas Stars, awful lot of firepower, but trading deadline is March 6th, and the trade window reopens on Thursday, coming out of the Olympics. Hot rumor that they're going to shop one of their big centers and move them because they're going to lose them in free agents. They can't re-sign everybody. Dallas has got such a stacked roster, such a collection of goal scorers. So there's a feeling that Dallas may make a trade at the deadline to move some salary off because they're going to lose somebody and they get younger players and draft picks. But they're really good. But so is Colorado. And, of course, what's going on in Edmonton, that's still a really, really good team. So the back third of the schedule is going to be a dogfight, and the playoffs in the Western Conference, they're going to be something.
The playoffs start in early April? Is that right?
April. Yeah, I want to say April 15th maybe.
Okay. So, yeah, it is like the final third of the season. Here we go.
Yeah. And the trade window opens on Thursday.
See, this is the greatest thing about hockey. It's just, man, those guys go balls to the wall, you know? And it's going to be kind of a cool thing with all the Olympic hockey players coming back to the league. There'll be a lot of storylines, to talk about.
All out every shift. That's the way they play it.
Right on.
Good point. Laura, thank you.
Okay, let's talk some Padres here. And this is from San Diego Local Fishing. Hey, didn't you say the Padres didn't have any money before they re-signed King? Seems like you guys don't know as much as you think you do.
Oh, geez, I hope your boat doesn't sink in the bay. I won't come rescue you. No, at the end of the day, they reallocated money. They took Ariza's money or Cease's money, and they gave it to King on a structured contract. Big money, 3 years, $25 million per. But at the end of the day, they had no money to go get anybody else. And if you look at all the free agent lottery tickets they just bought last week, those guys are all on 1 year minimum wage contracts, some of them on minor league contracts. Now, the Padre payroll is up to the ceiling. And after they made the decision on King, they had really no money to go get anybody else because ownership has put a clamp on it. But it's not cheap. Their payroll is $228 million now. Now, 228. That's pretty high. But they did not have money to go out and go get marquee free agents. And all they did was rearrange outgoing money, the Cease money, the Arise money, so they could put it in the creative contract for Michael King.
Yeah, they're still going to add. I can see a scenario going into the trade deadline, in the middle of the season, where they're going to maybe add payroll if they're in the hunt.
Or if they're not in the hunt, they could trade Pivetta.
Well, yeah, they can do the opposite. But, Preller has had a history of making trades like at the very end of spring training, So anything could happen here.
Except he doesn't have very many trade assets to move in a deal. He's got nothing in the farm system left.
There's some of those new pitchers I saw over the weekend look pretty good. Some of they're young guys. But
that's one
the
outing.
point is that they have some talent. Anyways, let's keep moving.
Okay, thank you for joining us. But no, that's how they got to the dollar figures they got because they moved dollars around. Next one.
All right, Rams football. This is with Paul. Hey, just wondering why Byron Leftwich can't get any love. Seems like a good head coach candidate. Also for the Rams, reconfigure your secondary this offseason.
Very interesting. Just Leftwich is interviewed for head jobs and never got beyond the first interview. So it may well be he was a hot coordinator, but he wound up getting fired a couple times. And now he's back into, I think he was going back into college coaching. So he's kind of like Eric Bieniemy, who had a lot of job interviews and never, ever got an offer. So it may be he's just not a complete head coach, and maybe he's a lifetime coordinator. But he did well. Once he retired as an NFL quarterback, he became a coordinator with pretty good results, but he's never been elevated beyond that. And then he got swept out when head coaches got fired and never got brought back. It's kind of a weird set of circumstances. A lot of good head coaches out there, but it's not a guarantee they're all going to get jobs. He
hung around in the league as a pro for a little longer than I expected.
He played at Marshall, had a lot of injuries. Mm-hmm. I thought he was a decent quarterback. He couldn't stay on the field, but then he got into coaching at a young age, and he elevated himself and seemed to have a pretty good resume as a quarterback coach, and then became an offensive coordinator. Might have been down in Jacksonville, but then they swept the staff out, and he's was in and out of football jobs since that point in time.
Yeah, it was nice to see him go into coaching and have success.
Yes.
Because I remember when he became kind of a hot name there for a while, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember him.
It's about a year and a half worth of interviews, and then nothing ever came of it. He was a really good college quarterback at Marshall.
Interesting.
Right, he replaced Chad Pennington, who had a great career at Marshall and wound up with the Jets.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
He was at Marshall with Randy Moss.
Jeez. We are Marshall.
That's right.
Okay. Let's talk some more Padres here. And this is not, was it not with Martian Mulatto? Hey, Hack Tool, go wear your Dodgers blue. Why don't you talk about how the San Diego Padres got screwed in the TV deal? Instead, you talk down on the underdog. Pathetic.
Oh, please. The Padres did get screwed. They're not the only one. There's 15 teams that got screwed when the whole regional sports network thing went down. That's nobody's fault except the regional sports network people. So, what's the beef? We're talking about the Dodgers and their money and their marketplace compared to any other market there is. There's 15 teams that lost their TV revenue. If you listen to the front end of the podcast, we talked about the mess with MORENO. They lost $50 million in 2 years in revenue because of the collapse of the regional networks. They don't have a TV contract right now. They're trying to get a deal done with Major League Baseball here at the very last minute. So, come on, I'm not rooting for the Dodgers. I'm not rooting for the Padres. I'm just reporting the stories that are out there. So don't make up stuff that you think I said.
Everyone's got an opinion.
Even if it's the wrong one.
Yeah, so first of all, this TV deals are collapsing everywhere.
Yep.
But I think these teams were living with, how should I say, unrealistic expectations that revenue channel of $50 million a year or whatever it was.
It was going to go on and on?
It was going to go on and on and on because that's the new line that they drew as far as the market is concerned. But those contracts didn't match reality. I mean, They weren't making money. They weren't getting enough advertising dollars to pay the license fee and all of their expenses, much less have a profit. They've all gone bankrupt.
Yeah, Bally Sports and Diamond Sports, those were the ones that owned the regional networks here. How could they ever think that the Padre TV deal was worth $60 million per year? Because that's what they paid the Padres. There's not enough people in the world that are going to subscribe to that. And this is not a massively big advertising marketing place that you could make $60 million to give to the Padres. And that's why the Padre contract was the most absurd contract of anybody. And that was the first one that went south when they missed the payment. And that was the beginning of the end because then all the other dominoes fell. But that's a byproduct. That's a mistake of Fox TV and Bally Sports and Diamond Sports. And
bad negotiation.
Well,
yeah, why would you accept that? And good on the Padres for working that deal. They got the money for a short period of time.
Short period of time.
Yeah.
But they were the first ones that lost everything, and they only got a chunk from MLB, and they're still getting less than they ever got from Bally Sports, Diamond Sports, whatever the hell the corporate name was, FanDuel.
Yeah. Okay, keep moving on. All right, let's go here. This is talking a little bit about Pac-12, San Diego State.
Yes.
San Diego State is better off in the Pac-12 because they're making double what they made in the Mountain West Conference and don't have to play all the bottom feeder Mountain West teams or play as many games at elevation. So glad we are done with Wyoming. Yes, it's Mountain West 2.0, but it's the best of the Mountain West. Biggest mistake was not taking UNLV. In basketball, we're way better off having Gonzaga and some of the best Mountain West teams in the Pac-12.
Real mixed bag in your response. I buy a piece of what you're saying. They made $3 million a year in their TV deal. I was told they're going to make just a shade over $6 million. But the cost of operation of everybody's athletic department is through the roof. So even a bump up to $6 million doesn't make a hell of a lot of difference in your athletic department. And so you're playing the best of what you took with you from the Mountain West, but it doesn't have the impact nationally. You're not on anybody's radar. There's no difference between the Mountain West and the Mid-American Conference, which I know a lot about because I came out of the MAC. So at the end of the day, your ability to make big money is very limited. Your ability to be in the postseason playoffs is now even less just because of the fact that the new Pac-12 is a group of 6. It is not it's not going to be a Power 4 conference and get guaranteed slots. So you just look at how they have to compete now. If they ever were to have an opportunity to get an invite to the college football playoffs, it's impossible because you're dealing with Mountain West, AAC, Conference USA, Sun Belt, Mid-American Conference, and I forget what's the sixth one. There's 6 group of 6s.
Yeah.
And it's only one guaranteed slot.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they're better off than they were before.
Well, would you prefer that the Aztecs would have stayed in the Mountain West and then been playing El Paso and North Dakota State and all that?
I wish I knew what the facts were when they had that there was a window in which maybe they could have convinced somebody to take them to the Big 12 because of the size of the TV market.
I mean,
it didn't happen.
Right. And I mean, it's not like San Diego State was like sleeping at the switch.
No,
I mean,
they've tried so hard, John.
Yeah, they've tried really hard. But anyways, here, Steve, he's right. I mean, it's an upgrade. It's not a huge upgrade. It's not Power 4. I hear you. but it's still better than what it was. They're getting like double the money. They're getting $6 million instead of $3 million. You don't have to go to Wyoming. It's $72.20, and then you get to play Oregon State, Washington State, and and they're trying to build something. They're going to probably add more teams. So, it's a little bit better, but I'm not excited.
No.
But I don't think we need to like shame them.
No, I'm not shaming them. In fact, I wrote a column last week how bad I felt for John David Wicker. Those people worked so hard to get into the Pac-12 and have it fall apart. There was a window in which they might have been able to pursue Big 12, and it didn't get done. I'm not sure the Big 12 was really interested in it, aside from the TV market. So just a tough set of circumstances. Basketball is going to be fun. Dutcher has made this thing special. You add Gonzaga. Hell, they ought to go get Grand Canyon and put them into the Pac-12 basketball only.
Oh, Grand Canyon would love that, So I think, overall this is going to be good for the program. I agree also. I wish UNLV was still in this because that's a nice market. And it's always cool to have go to Vegas for a weekend and be able to catch a game with the San Diego State team. Yeah, so it's good to have that. And, so all good. I mean, I'm just willing to take it as it comes, right? But the problem is, of course, is that you have like the big boy table and the little kids table.
And the little kids table forever.
It's at the little kids table, and that divide is growing. It's making the group of six like AAA.
Yeah. Sandy, I wrote about this last week. I said it last week. You disagree. San Diego State's no different than Western Michigan, except in Western Michigan and Kalamazoo, it's snowing like hell today, and today it's 70 degrees here. That's the only difference between us and everybody else that's part of the group of six. Okay, thank you for the input, though. Okay, John, let's move to social media and Fans Forum.
Fans Forum. Okay, we're going to go to our friends that give us money. You go to the front of the list. Phenom says, hey, by the way, thank you, Phenom. As reported by ESPN, USA women's hockey team declined to appear at the State of the Union. Some pro teams decline White House invites, but should Olympic teams?
It's a burning question. The White House just asked Team USA's men to go, but those guys are trying to get on planes to get back to their teams because now the playoff push begins and the schedule starts on Thursday. So I don't know what Team USA's men are going to do. And again, once you get to the end of the season, then you got all the playoffs and everybody's involved. So they can't go to the White House then. And get in the summertime and the guys scatter to the winds and go back to Europe or go where they live in the off season. So I don't know if there's enough time to get to honor Team USA. And then we go back to the original political-sports question. If you stand next to his president, does that mean you're agreeing with everything his president is doing? I don't know about that.
Well, see, this used to never really be a political thing, right? I mean, it was all very nonpartisan when teams would go meet with the president. And even I remember presidents used to call the Super Bowl winner on the phone right after the game. It was kind of neat. It was kind of a good national unity thing. But now it's like a third rail. You don't want to touch it. You might get zapped.
Exactly.
Okay, let's keep on going here. And
thanks, Phenom.
Yeah, thank you very much. And there's another gentleman here that gave us a couple of bucks. So I want to get him in next. This is Matt DeBeast. Skubal only pitching one WBC game is absolutely bull crap.
Well, the problem we've got is that this thing, the WBC schedule, it happens so quick in early spring that these guys are not ramped up to go pitch 3 innings or 6 innings or whatever. Skubal included. Obviously, Yamamoto, he pitched 1 2/3 innings, was pulled, and he's on a plane going. He's not going to pitch again in the Cactus League until the WBC is over. I don't think any of these guys are really ready. So we have the ongoing argument. This is the wrong place of the calendar to put this. And 2 years ago, 4 years ago, what was the last time the WBC was here? 4 years ago, there were a lot of pitching injuries. So people are really concerned about this. And a lot of players, a lot of Caribbean players cannot get insurance. So the rosters are going to be really thinned out of all the stars who have had in the past, a bunch of them. A lot of Latin players can't get insurance, and they're not going to play.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to still see, Manny and Fernando out there for Dominican Republic, I'm sure.
Yes.
But anyway, first of all, I agree with Matt. I mean, Skubal should be the guy. If the United States makes the final, you would say it'd either be him or Skeens that you want pitching. But this is actually bad news for the Padres because they're going to open against the Detroit Tigers. And so Skubal's probably getting ready to be the opening day starter.
Yeah. Well, Skubal was going to pitch in that series regardless.
Yeah, he will. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, wrong place in the schedule, and they've never quite figured this out. John and I solved the problem, but they wouldn't take John's email. Would play the damn thing during the All-Star break. Let's have a 2-week break, and let's have a World Baseball Classic during the All-Star break.
Yes, and then the players that aren't on the team, they're getting healthier, and you kind of rebuild your pitching staff. And I think having a second half is kind of fun.
Okay, good to have you. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go to Flash Bainey. Hey, Lee and John, father of 13 from the land of enchantment. Congratulations to the USA hockey teams on their gold medals. Best sports talk show anywhere.
Hello, New Mexico. Always great to have you there. What Team USA did was so unbelievable. And I read my column. If you're a hockey fan, read my column today about the Olympics. Because, yes, Team USA won the gold. Nobody lost. I know Canada's achy right now and kind of hurting. There's a lot of people circumspect, want to evaluate Team Canada and why it didn't win. What won was global hockey. There are so many great players on all these country teams. There are so many upsets in the play-ins to get to the knockout round. So hockey right now is an epitome of success, I think. So I would hope that they'll consider dropping the NHL All-Star game and just take a week's break and make it a tournament. Make it Team USA, Team Canada, Team World, and have a round robin and do it that way.
Yeah, hell yeah. This is the formula that works. Yep. And yeah, it's been a great run. It's nice to see both the men and the women get gold. And think about the women, that golden goal, what was her name? Megan Keller. Yep. I mean, did you see that move she put on that defenseman to get the puck past and be able to take the shot? I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, put her on the back. Got around her and then got the puck on her backhand and was accurate enough to flip it.
Incredible. Yeah, that was a nice win.
And the closing ceremony, Team USA, and what they did with Johnny Hockey's family and kids in the memory of Johnny Gaudreau. Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
I almost had tears. I kind of sensed that's what they were going to do. They brought Johnny Gaudreau's jersey out first, and they were going to take a picture or a team photo on the podium. Everybody had their gold medals with Johnny Gaudreau's jersey. And then Kachuk stood up and said, wait a minute. And he skated to the penalty box, and these two kids came over the glass, and they were Johnny's young children, and they skated them to center ice.
That's classic.
And they sat at center ice for the team photo, all wearing their gold medals with the jersey and Johnny's kids. That was so cool. What a brotherhood.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
What a bond.
Did you see the closing thoughts by Mike Tirico from ESPN?
Yes.
Because he's been getting a lot of praise. I haven't seen it, though.
Yeah, I thought he did a phenomenal job. The right tone for everything. Some of it had political inclinations to it, too.
Mm-hmm. He's a pro.
Oh, he's elevated. I've known him since he was at Syracuse University.
Really?
Really good guy when he first broke into ESPN.
Look at all you New Yorkers, man, back in the day.
We are together.
We are together. Okay, let's keep on going. And who is this? This is Mike Chance. That's just like a new name here. Coronado. I wonder if the emerging chaos in Mexico with the cartel retaliating after their leader, El Mencho, was killed will have an impact on the World Baseball Classic or the other event, which I think is a soccer cup.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of conversation about what has just transpired over the last 72 hours in Mexico and Puerto Vallarta. About the safety. It says something also about the culture, and it says something about the government leadership in Mexico, that this stuff exists today. I wish I had an explanation or a solution to it except go in and freaking nuke it all, but I don't think you can do that. But, yeah, they got to be concerned about the World Cup of Soccer. I mean, because they've got, 18 games, I think, are scheduled in Mexico?
Yeah.
In those venues? Wow. I don't know how they're going to put this fire out. And that's the problem is you don't know in Mexico who's affiliated with who. These gangs show up, and who do they represent? And then you get soldiers that are showing up. And do they represent the military and the government? Because there's a lot of corruption in the military and the government in Mexico, too. It's a bad set of circumstances.
Yeah, it's really weird that like a gang has like a military, you know? I mean, that's so you're kind of using your military internally on people in the nation. But
and there's cartels in different segments of the country that are all powerful.
Yeah. But I think, you know, from a sports angle, this is going to be very disruptive.
Yes.
You know, especially if people are fearful to go. So, and we've already talked about, you know, maybe the World Cup was going to boycott the United States. So maybe we just need to put it all in Canada.
The 51st state? Yes.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, that's all meaningless conversation.
Okay. All right, let's go here to Callan. Hey, afternoon, gents. I heard a national radio show this morning trying to compare the men's victory in 2026 to 1980. I don't see how that's fair or possible. Sign me up for Team North America versus the world again.
Well, you know, I've thought about this impact. Was this accomplishment greater than 1980? No. Because 1980 was college kids against pros who were in the Russian army. These were kids from Minnesota, Duluth, Harvard, Yale, etc. They were playing for Herb Brooks and Team USA. And by the way, dumbass, you need to watch the video of Miracle on Ice, the movie.
I've seen. Well,
You've seen clips. You haven't seen the whole thing.
No. Here, hold on a second. So, I recently saw the documentary on Amazon Prime about the 1980 team, and it's very well done.
You haven't seen the movie.
Well, the Hollywood version with Kurt Russell, I've seen pieces of it, but I've never sat through the whole thing. But I'm just saying, the Amazon Prime one is more of a documentary, and it's excellent.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, at the end of the day, the difference was these are the greatest the globe has to offer. Whether you played for USA, who had the Canadian Maple Leaf on your jersey, whether you skated for Finland or Sweden, who also had great tournaments. Global game, all professionals, just spectacular. But that was such a different environment in 1980. Now, I can't tell you what 1960 was like, because we were amateurs. Jack McCartan was the American goaltender, a college goaltender, and they won. But the level of international global play at that time was minuscule compared to the talent level that we have today. So very different era. I think the 80 accomplishment is greater than this, because that was amateurs versus Russian pros in the Army. This was great. My superstar, your superstar, their superstar from Europe.
Yeah, it also was a very different time in America. And that's what they talked about in that documentary on Prime, about how 1980 America was sort of in the doldrums, right? We had the Iran hostage crisis, and this is like in the final years of Carter's presidency, and you know the economy wasn't very good, and there was a lot of people that were really struggling. And this was like Team USA gave Americans hope, you know, again, made Americans feel good about being American.
Callum, great hockey question. Join us again. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go here to Richard. Fans Forum. Hey, Dodger YouTube channels have the Padres at 90-plus wins. We also agree that San Diego will only go as far as Manny allows. His demeanor controls the clubhouse. San Diego media walks on eggshells with him.
I never walked on eggshells. I asked him the questions. He didn't like the questions. That's okay. End of the day, the Dodgers obviously are loaded with talent. The Padres have questions with pitching markers number 2, 3, 4, and 5. We don't know, and we can be excited that Michael King did a full bullpen. And we can be excited that Joe Musgrove threw 2 innings of shutout ball against the Mariners AAA team on a backfield. But that does not necessarily equate to opening day, first week, max effort, and then how do their arms respond in the days between starts, and will they be the same pitcher in the second, third, and fourth starts of the season? So there's still question marks about Padre baseball. So far, so good. At the end of the day, I could see the Dodgers winning 102 games. In terms of how many of the Padres are going to win, I'm going to withhold making a statement until we actually get to the finish line of the Cactus League and just see who is who and where they slot in the rotation and how they've gotten through their spring training starts. Could the Padres win 90? Yes. If we use the word yes next to King, next to Musgrove, yes next to Vasquez, and then whoever might be the fifth starter. So the jury is still out on the Padres only just because of the health issues with Walker Buehler and the guys they brought in. Will they be big-time contributors or not? We don't know yet. Padres have the potential to have lottery tickets really hit the jackpot and help this club. But not everybody comes back totally healthy, and not everybody stays healthy. So it's just the first weekend of the Cactus League is a little too early to project what we're going to be yet. That make sense?
It does. It is early, but, here, first of all, the Dodger YouTube channels, I figure they'd be saying the Padres are going to win 68.
Nah.
Just the way they are. That's the thing about Dodger fans. I mean, they love to kick their little sister around, I'll tell you what.
Nah.
But the Padres, though, I think 90-plus wins. I mean, they've done that the last 2 years. And I think you could look at the roster now, and granted, there's a lot of question marks. But hell, I mean, the starting lineup last year, we had Yuli Gurriel and Brandon Lockridge and Martin Maldonado. I mean, it wasn't a great lineup last year. I'm feeling more optimistic this year than I was last year.
I'm optimistic about the bench guys that they've added, and I'm optimistic about the depth they've now stockpiled. But every one of those depth guys in that pitching staff is coming off an injury issue. And you got to pay attention to that until we see how they react.
Okay, yeah, we're going to find out.
And we got 5 weeks to argue about it.
I know, it's still February, and we're talking baseball, which is great. Okay, let's go here to Philip. Hey, good day, gentlemen. Unlike the Raider Nation, I work for a living and don't usually get to listen live. My thought on the whole NIL thing, it seems that the athletes hold all the cards in their career. Can a coach in the college ranks just release an athlete for poor performance?
Well, it's supposed to be they're on one-year contracts. Now they're making them 2-year contracts. And now because agents are involved, they're also saying, well, if you're going to exit and try to leave and go to take a different NIL deal, now there's a buyout. So it's gotten much more complex, just like, obviously, a Major League Baseball contract with buyouts, percentages, and all that. So I hate it. The NIL and the transfer portal has changed the game. I just don't think college sports will ever be the same again until we get it under control, and they just don't seem to have it under control right now. Congress has not helped them. The NCAA seems powerless. Everybody's suing everybody else. And the judges and the courts, every time they make a decision, it's different from the last decision they made. The kid at Tennessee, their quarterback, Joey Aguilar, just was turned down on an extra year. And he was a JC player who was supposed to get an extra year, and the federal judge said no. But other quarterbacks like Diego Pavia, who did all the success he had at Vanderbilt, he got extra years. It's just the way the judges interpret the NCAA rules. And then obviously what's happened at Ole Miss, that quarterback got turned down again. So it's very complicated, and there's no consistency whatsoever. It is so out of control, such a mess.
Well, first of all, we shouldn't be looking to Congress to fix this. I mean, they can't fix more serious problems in America. And you hate that this would go to a judge. You think that the NCAA, they would enforce their rules. They would probably have some sort of a judicial branch within it to kind of work through some of these issues. So, I don't know, in my opinion, the NCAA just needs to take a stand and say, this is what we want to do, and then go out and do it.
Yeah, but now you got lawyers that say, we're suing you. You can't do that.
Well, then they're going to have to resolve those things.
That's how we got to this point.
But, yeah, you're right. It is a mess. The problem is that with the amateur athletes, or they're really pro,
they are now.
The rules that define all of the boundaries of what they can and cannot do are just so loosey-goosey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they just got to firm up, man.
I don't know how they're going to do that. Because every time they firm up, somebody gets an injunction against them. It's just so out of control. To me, the games that we've seen have been great. The college football season was great. We saw so many big-time games because so many great players are on the big-time teams. But the whole integration of all the new rules has just wrecked the sport. And we get 10,000 players went into the transfer portal.
Yeah, but I bet you at least half of them are not going to land anywhere significant. So we're just going through an inflection point, through a 3 or 4 year transition.
Bad.
And they just got to figure it out. But I'm glad the kids are getting paid. They deserve it.
Okay, we move on.
Let's go to our friend Steve. Hey, Team USA with a game for the ages. Canada had their chances and blew it. Stop crying about 3-on-3 losers.
So, it's interesting, though. John Cooper, the coach, the Olympic team, He's of the opinion that 3-on-3 is a gimmick for television. That's not real hockey. 3-on-3 should be 5-on-5, and let them play. And then we'll decide the game that way. You know, we go to the NHL playoffs, there's no 3-on-3. Now, during the regular season, the Kings and the Ducks are tied. They play 3-on-3. And then it goes to a shootout. In the NHL playoffs, there's no 3-on-3. They play 5-on-5, and they just keep playing. If it goes 4 overtimes, it goes 4 overtimes.
Well, 3-on-3 is like the ghost runner in baseball. You know, they're trying to just to get it over with.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a gimmick. Watch it. Something's going to happen, and it usually does happen.
But I wonder if they negotiated it just to reduce injuries before they go back to the NHL. They said, okay, we'll just do 3-on-3 so less guys are at risk.
3-on-3 is part of the regular season now in the NHL. Just not part of postseason.
Not part of postseason. All right, yeah.
Big argument. Yeah, but again, those are the purists. They say, oh, my God.
Well, there was a lot of ice out there when Hughes made that shot. I mean,
that's what 3-on-3 is.
Yeah, so, I mean, that assist was right on target, but Hughes was kind of out there all alone.
Yeah. 3-on-3 is rotate the puck. Movement. Don't turn the puck over. Get the good shot, or see if you can get a 2-on-1 break or a 3-on-2 break.
Sounds like Dean Smith, 4 corners.
Exactly. So, all right. Thank you for the input.
Okay, all right, let's go to timer 20. Hey, Lee, and this is a two-parter. Lee, did you see the load of BS that Artie Moreno said about the fans, saying we care about affordability and not about winning? What a load of bull crap.
Well, we talked about that at the onset. I don't know if what Artie said came out sideways. I'm not quite sure. He probably worded it correctly. But if there's a survey out there, I'd like to see that survey. Send me that survey so I can see what you actually asked, etc. But he also said a lot of other things. He said they lost $50 million hard revenue with the collapse of the regional sports network, and that impales their budget. So, I mean, he's getting just roasted nationally, just roasted.
He should.
And end of the day, sell the thing. You had not been able to make the right decision. Heart might be in the right place, but the execution's not. Sell the thing.
Yeah, you think at some point he would just say, you know, I gave it my best shot.
Yeah.
But there was this a two-parter. Teamer had a follow-up. He said, fans never got the survey that Artie said. He threw the fans under the bus to justify his BS.
Okay, well, that's your interpretation. I'd sure like to see what the survey was, if there ever was a survey, because the national media doesn't think there was a survey either, and now the union has stood up and said, oh, that's very interesting, what just came out of his mouth.
You know, a bunch of Halo fans are piling in. Halo's in the infield. Artie Moreno is tone deaf. Lee, he needs to go.
A lot of general consensus people feel that same way.
Okay, let's go talk some more hockey here with Gale Force Properties. Hey, wonder if Team Canada is regretting not choosing Connor Bedard for their Olympic hockey team.
Good player, no doubt about it. You know, I noticed something really different in the 3-on-3, and maybe somebody from the old Canada Network might want to respond to this. McDavid, when he was on the ice, was trying to do things on his own. Go up the ice with the puck. And again, he's got great athletic speed. I mean, he is crossing that blue line. He's so fierce, going full bore in. But he was not passing, trying to create a mismatch, getting somebody that goes off on an angle. He was trying to do it all himself. And I'm just wondering if anybody's bringing up the thing. Connor was playing Connor McDavid hockey, 3-on-3 hockey, is pass, skate, get an odd break. And as you allude to, a lot of open ice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he was in his starter for the 3-on-3, if I remember. Yeah. I mean, we can second guess the roster and everything else, but it was a hell of a game. There was a talented teams, and Hellebuck, how many saves did he have?
41.
I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, everyone was going on and on about how he essentially won it for Team USA.
Canada had all the firepower on offense. They had a lot more goal scorers. So, but the tournament was great. There was no losers. Global hockey won, and that to me is the most important aspect.
Yeah, right on. Okay, all right, let's go to here. There are two more people raking the Angels. This is from Casey. I believe the Angels are the only team in Major League Baseball that doesn't allow their radio announcers to travel to call road games on site.
Yeah, they in Toronto are the only ones. I mean, pound-wise, penny foolish. Why would you do that? making your radio guys on AM 830 do the games, the road games. They do it from Anaheim Stadium watching off a TV monitor.
I remember they did that in the COVID year with the Padres, but that was COVID, right?
Yes.
You know, I mean, come on, Artie. And there's another one that's this is retro. He goes, hey, if I'm not mistaken, the Angels are the only team not televising spring training games.
Well, they don't have a contract yet. That's a problem. And again, they worked with FanDuel, who was their TV partner, the regional network. And FanDuel says, we're trying to finance this thing and get new ownership, and we'll try to make you the payment. And they missed the rights fee payment in December, missed the rights fee payment in January. And then when they made offers, it was far less than what the teams were supposed to get. And the Angels said no. Now, I think the Angels are going to wind up under the MLB umbrella. But the problem is you can't do that infrastructure with a snap of fingers. It takes time to put together who's going to be on your TV network, et cetera. And to be able to get the infrastructure, producers, directors, camera crews, that just does not happen overnight. So they won't be on in spring training. I bet they'll be under the MLB umbrella by opening day.
It's just so Angels, you know? It's like, come on. And especially when, you know, your counterpart up the 101 freeway is killing it, you know, the Dodgers. You got to show up, man. It's like Artie's not running a legit organization.
Well, the thing is, the latest crisis happened much later in the calendar. The Padres situation way back, they knew that Bally Sports was in trouble. And when the Padres opted out, or Bally missed the first rights fee payment, Padres said, we're done with you. They went to baseball. That was like in November. This has happened to Artie Moreno in January.
Okay, so this is back to Artie Moreno bad luck.
I think so.
That's just another sign from God that he needs to sell the team.
Well, they kept all those teams. They kept all those teams on hold. But there were 9 teams that finally opted out, and they missed the rights fee payment December 1st. They missed the January rights fee payment, and those 9 clubs said, we're done. Yeah. If you go under, we're done. And they called the commissioner's office and said, we're coming under the MLB umbrella. Artie stayed with them. I think it was the Angels in Detroit Angels in Atlanta stayed with them with FanDuel, hoping that they'd be able to come up with
loyal to a fault. Then maybe,
yeah. And the calendar ran out on them, and now they got nothing. No, they'll be back. They'll be under MLB's umbrella, I bet, by opening day.
Eesh, okay. Wow, what a mess. Okay, let's go here to Bat Fan. Hey, in light of the Lindsey Vonn incident and reports she almost lost her leg, will there be new rules implemented to avoid a repeat scenario?
Well, I think one of the questions the International Ski Federation is being bombarded with is, you have doctors. Should you not have a power to rule injured athletes out of competition so there's not a Lindsey Vonn issue again? And that's not been solved yet. But this was on Lindsay. She made the decision, catastrophic. This is going to change her life. You know, she's going to be in a wheelchair forever. And the fact that she almost, because of the damage to the artery in the vein, she almost had to have the leg amputated. It was so serious. So, I mean, give her credit for who she is and what she's accomplished. But boy, I can't imagine the pain that she's gone through. She had 6 surgeries now. And she's finally on the weekend just got released from hospital and is home. The therapy is going to be forever.
That's crazy.
So it really is. Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this Monday podcast. Just a program note, we've got some travel issues at the end of the week. We're taking Thursday off. We won't be on this Thursday, but we will be back Monday at 1:30 with a lot of topics on the table. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers. You got ideas, they got materials. They can be your best friend, be your consultant. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things they have to offer. John Riley, safe travels. We will hook up with you next Monday, a week from today, back here.
Okay, you're sure your head's not going to explode, that we're not going to do it on Thursday?
Oh, we're going to have so much information by the time you come back on Monday.
Okay, I look forward to it.
But we look forward to having you again next Monday. We'll be back. We'll be off this coming Thursday. Thanks for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast app.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.